think I'm kinda sweet and you wanna be friends though? It's cool though. Just don't try to play me for no fool, yo. Views from the friend zone. I'm trying to reach the end zone. You think I'm kinda sweet and you wanna be friends though? It's cool though. Just don't try to play me for no fool, yo. Yeah. Welcome to another edition of the Views from the Friend Zone podcast. Happy Sunday, y'all. We're back to we was using this studio in the summertime for a long time, so if you're new, it looks like a new studio, but we've used this before, Want to have a beautiful show. We have some great guests, Like always, I'm going to have people introduce themselves. I'm going to start with...
It's your boy Cliff Brockman.
It's your boy Real Talk Marv.
Amanda, a.k.a. Greedy Gut.
Nichelle, a.k.a. Miss Nook.
Joe, a.k.a. The Shrink.
The Shrink, yeah. And it's funny? I was thinking, our guest, Nichelle's a friend of the show. She's been here before. Joe's a newcomer. But it's funny, his name is Joe, but he's not your average Joe because he got a lot going on. So, since you're newer to the show, we're going to have you introduce yourself first, and then Nichelle can let us know what she got going on.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for having me. It's really
no problem. It's our pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine. Great vibe here. Great people. Really love it. So my real name is Giuseppe Satili, but Joe is a lot easier to pronounce.
Okay.
Unless you're into shoes, like the Giuseppe's.
Giuseppe's, yeah, it stands out for you.
Yeah, I'm a clinical psychologist by trade.
Okay.
I'm a Pisces.
Since you
Your
brought that in, are you
birthday's
single?
coming up.
Are you single? Since you putting out your signs and stuff like that? All right. We're not going to set you up then, okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Well, you know what? The dating service was very interesting because when Clifford told me about what you had going on a while back, I was like, you know what? That's such a beautiful niche to fill, right? Because I'm going to let you introduce it, but a lot of times we only think about ourselves. We think about how we find love, and, this show's concentrated on, relationships and things like that. But you're serving a market that we don't think about how that market find love. So go ahead and introduce that.
For some time now, I've been working in the group home IRA setting, and I guess I'll bring it up as how it came to be.
Yeah.
One day I was hanging out with one of the individuals that I was treating, and we were on the stoop smoking cigarettes like two regular people.
Yeah.
Are you sure it was cigarettes?
Yes.
I was like,
absolutely.
joking.
It was on the job. And I was on Tinder and I'm swiping, and the individual said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to find a date," and he said, "I wish we had something like that." So I looked at him and I said, "Give me a month."
And when you said we, please explain to them who's the we you're referring to.
Oh, we is individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Yeah. See, and that's a beautiful thing, right? Because a lot of times we have the capacity to, I can meet someone at the library. I can meet someone and, I'm comfortable doing it. But how about the people who don't have the skill set, the communication skill set, the feeling comfortable in certain environment,
Yeah.
So let them know the website, the actual URL, talk to the camera.
Sure. It's idateyou.com, IDDATEU. I date you because some of the other sites, wouldn't want to say their name, but it wasn't a very good name.
Yeah.
This is more of I date you, like I would date you, and the ID is for the intellectual disability. So we tried to mask it as well, or put it together.
What's the age group?
Age group is 18. It's adults,
Okay.
18 and older. One of the good things about the site is consenting. Some of our individuals have the capacity to consent for sexual activity, and some don't. So we do have two separate databases that we use to separate the two.
Okay.
And that's one of the innovations of the site that our competitors don't have.
Nice.
And even the name of the URL with the ID hiding that, those who are in the know will feel comfortable talking about it. It doesn't have the stigma of saying, I'm mentally underdeveloped, or sometimes certain things like kind of exposes someone's personal issues, just blatted out without, and they might not feel comfortable going to that comfortably. They can be on your site, they know what the site is, doing their thing with someone, someone that doesn't know them could see them on the site and not exactly know from the name of it. So I thought that was a really good thing as well. Michelle, let us know what else you got going on.
I'm doing the same thing I was doing before. I am the founder of Nook's Book Club. I started a book club. It's not your regular book club. I wanted to have a reason to get men and women together to inspire them and just encourage them to live a purposeful life. A lot of people get caught up with just working their 9 to 5, life's challenges. You forget about your dream. You put it aside. So I utilize the time just spending together and encourage them. We have great discussions. We go to different, places, spa days, restaurants. And then what happens is I develop a rapport with them. They trust me, and I wind up coaching them individual into kind of taking the steps towards pursuing their dream. And how do you do that?
Yeah. And also, you wrote for some websites and stuff like that.
Yes. I've been writing for Pink Magazine since 2015.
Okay.
I just kind of I'm getting ready to shift into something else. I'm
Okay.
finishing my book, which will be released in 2019.
Nice.
We have to have her back on the show too
Yes,
to
yes.
discuss the
And
book.
Clifford always tells me that I need to do a book show because I wrote a book, and then we know other authors and stuff. So
Yes, I didn't even know that.
yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, so we'll definitely have you back when we do the
Yes.
author show.
It's an amazing book. I'm not just saying that because my brother. He never broadcasted about the book. Definitely.
And you have a nerve to talk about me and my candles, and you're not broadcasting about the book.
I bring it up, and then I'm always in the business of pushing everybody else, and I got to remember to push my stuff as well.
That's what I started.
I'm a big supporter of everyone else, so I'm always excited to be like, this person got something going on. I need to kind of self-promote as well. I definitely.
I'll help you with that.
Okay, cool.
But yes, basically. So
Yeah.
yes, right.
Okay, so we got some of the introductory stuff out. Now we're going to get into the regular format of the show. Obviously, you've been on the show, so you know how it goes. Joe's new to the show, so we'll go through some topics. We'll ask you some questions. And they're not very invasive, but, we'll talk about relationships, things going on, so we kind of want to get everybody's perspective, right? Because a lot of times, we need to hear people have conversations about things that's stuck in our head, but we don't. A lot of times we turn on the TV or we go on, the internet, and it's just about people's gossip or what's the latest celebrity stuff. And sometimes our relationship questions, we don't get answered. Or we just hear it from biased people who know us, right? So I know you, so I'm going to give you the questions because I don't want to hurt your feelings and stuff like that. We kind of ask these questions across the board so people can take the conversation and apply it to themselves if they want to. So the first topic we have is, you're good to me, but you're not good for me. How many of us have been in the relationship where it's just it lasted longer because the person was nice, the person was sweet, but then in the end you knew that person wasn't good for your personal growth? We all had that relationship. Some of us might still be in that relationship, and it's hard to do the separation when you can't, because people ask you, oh, what did they do wrong? When you're contemplating on leaving a relationship, people's like, oh, so what did they do wrong? When you can't say, well, he didn't beat me or he's not cheating, stuff like that, but for your emotional growth, physical growth, spiritual growth, that person is not good for you. So the first sub-question is, how do you deal with the wrong person when they're treating you right? So the person's wrong for you, but they're treating you right. So how do you deal with that? We try to do it ladies first, but since you're new,
I'm looking at Joe because I have a feeling like Joe's like this.
Since
right
you're
now.
new, we want you
I know.
to kick us off. So I'll ask the
Hi,
question
Joe.
again. How do you deal with the wrong person who's treating you right?
That's definitely an interesting question, and I agree. This is something that we all tackle from time to time. When it comes to emotions and relationships, I don't feel comfortable either. I'm a person before I'm anything else, and the thing that doesn't make me feel comfortable doesn't follow logic. I like logic.
Okay.
2 + 2 is 4. That works. But when it comes to relationships and emotional attachments, there's no logic. It's
Yes.
beautiful.
Love is very illogical.
I like the way you said that was beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's
Okay.
so beautiful. Communication, I would say, is the first step. to communicate a person's wants and needs, and to see if it meshes. Not necessarily it has to be the same, but does it connect? So these two differences, do they?
And I find it very good that you said communication is the key, right? Because you can be with the wrong person who's so nice.
Yeah.
How many times have you dated someone and just like, they're so into me, they're so sweet, but I don't see a future with the person?
And a lot of times that's why people stay. You stay for security, for safety. It's
That's
safe.
true.
It's a safe place. So because I don't love him like he loves me, but I'm gonna stay because it's safe.
Yeah.
If you get into relationships and you're having a hard time finding someone that you connect with, or if you've been treated badly, you stay in the wrong relationship because it's like fear.
Comfort zone.
It's a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to that person because then they're losing out on the person that they're supposed
to be with.
That's gonna love them the way that they deserve to be loved. But we stay because it's security.
So have you ever been in a situation like that where you stayed
Yes.
in a situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
And nothing works. You can even have good chemistry with that person. You can have good chemistry, and because of the good chemistry, you just keep convincing yourself that you should stay. But you're robbing yourself of who you're supposed to be with.
Absolutely.
And also that person as well. So just because you have good chemistry you can have good chemistry with 10 different women. That doesn't mean that that's who you're supposed to be with. So
It's
we
true.
all have, I've done it, guilty of doing it. And,
Yo, she said it all. Like, she hit all four corners.
We still need to hear from you.
No, of course you're going to hear from me.
I want to hear what you have.
So, yeah, how have you how do you deal with the wrong person who's treating you right? And do you have experience with that?
I've actually never had the wrong person do me right. I would say maybe my first relationship that I've ever had, everything was good, but it was like maybe a jealousy issue was too crazy, and I was like, "Dag, he treats me right. Everything is there, but he was so jealous, and that bothered me." Yeah, it was a lot. I'm talking about super duper jealous. I couldn't even say hi to my male friends and stuff like that. So, yeah, I've been in that situation before.
Stifling as well.
Yes, it is.
Because it's just like you have a very bubbly personality.
Right.
And if the wrong person doesn't know you, they could probably feel like I'm getting flirty energy from a
Yes,
man. I might have a shot.
I have
and
that
you're just
problem
being
every
nice.
day.
You're just being nice because you have
Every
a
day.
welcoming personality. So if you're with someone who's jealous and doesn't, is not secure enough to be with you, I can see
That's a struggle for
how
me.
a guy will.
Yeah,
What
that's
about
a
you?
struggle.
How do you deal, with the wrong person but they treat you right? How do you deal with that?
I mean, that's a tough question to answer, right? But a lot of the times that you're wasting that person's time, right? So I think now, me as an older man, I'm married, so I'm off the market anyway. Let me just put that out there, just in case she's watching the show. But but a lot of the time, it's you're wasting your time. If you know that person ain't supposed to be there for you, you just need to sit down and have a conversation. Maybe y'all could connect as good friends instead of just being in relationships. Because sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you're in a relationship with somebody, but that's supposed to be your friend. You know what I mean? Like, he listens to all your problems. She listens to all your problems. She's there for what you need her for at certain times. But the connection, whether it's sex or whether it's something else, is not there. And that's supposed to be your friend. So y'all don't have to say to yourself, oh, eliminate that person. Y'all can still be friends and talk on the phone at a certain level, but also you should also have enough respect now these days to say, you know what, let's just take it there, because then you could go years on and just waste each other's time, and then you miss your blessing. So,
Can I ask you guys all a question? Do you think there's ever that one point where you can actually make it work? Or is it like, what is that block you think
A lot
it
of
is?
people make it work, but I don't think that allows you to live your best life. Like, I know last year Lulu Duval came out with the Living Your Best Life song, and then all over social media we kept killing I'm living my best life. My check came in right. I paid my bills. I still got money in my bank account. I'm living my best life. But as far as relationships, you can make it work when people are just like, you know what, A, B, C, D, E is not working for me, but they care about me, so we'll make it work. But just think about how sad of a life that is.
Yeah, that'd be
You
really
spend
sad.
20, 30
Sure.
years with someone who didn't bring out the best of you. So not only did you stifle your own growth, but you never let that person. Sometimes you got to let somebody know about themselves so they could grow too. I think a lot of times we try to be too nice to the person we're with, and you'll find out years later when relationships don't work. Like, you used to do this, and it killed me. But I'm like, we was together for 10 years. You didn't tell me the whole 10 years.
That's the communication, though. The communication
Exactly.
part of it.
And also the habituation. You know, we're creatures of habit.
Yeah.
You know, so being in that same rut, waking up, not thinking that it's negative. It's just what you do every day.
So the next question I have is, like, there's the concept that opposites attract, right? So sometimes someone who's completely different from you is kind of appealing, but sometimes when you live under the concept of opposites attract, you also sometimes deal with something that's not really good for you. So the next question is, why do people you have no business with sometimes is the most appealing to you?
Because you know you have no business with them. Like, you know how
So
they
why do we
say-
do that? Like I know she's
It's-
not right for me,
it is
but
the
something
thrill.
drives me there.
Yeah.
It's the thrill of it all. Like, for instance, they say good girls like bad guys
Exactly.
because they like that thrill. They want that rush that they get, and
The
that
challenge.
And the opposite, right?
Right,
Sometimes you're a
exactly.
nice guy and you attract women that's gonna stomp you into the ground. But for some reason, that's the kind of woman that you gravitate to. And you're a nice guy, but then you get kind of used or
I was gonna
mistreated.
say those type of women are users. Those type of women, like, he's a nice guy. Those users, they know who to get.
So what about the clip? Why do people who you have no business with is the most appealing to you?
Because there is something called a wild card. Because you never know gonna expect what to do. Like a lot of the times when I was young, I was a jerk. I would do stuff just because I know. Like we could, for example, when I was dating and when I was out there, I'll make dates with somebody or make plans with them, and then I cancel at the last minute. Not because.
Damn, that was some fucked.
Hold on, no.
Shit.
I'm gonna explain to you the reason why was sometimes you gotta keep the person on your toes.
No,
Nobody listen.
You don't come to a date. I'm done with you. Keep them on
I-
their
Did they
toes.
ever come back?
Choose-
Did you ever like
True
get date
story.
after?
My wife, I stood up 4 times in a row, and then I don't know what it was. Maybe she.
When you stood up, what were you doing? You were chilling in the house
I
watching
was.
the game?
Listen. At that time, she was a winter break. At that time, I was making my rounds. So
Oh,
this
you
was-
were a whore.
It was a true story.
All
I wasn't
right.
a hoe. I was making my rounds. I was a kid.
I've never heard that story before. I never.
I
heard that
stood
story.
her up 4 times.
times?
4
4
times.
times. But
Yeah.
I had to jump in. Like, I was the best man at his wedding, and one of the things I said in the speech was, after there was a winter fling. Like, in college you had that long winter break, so there was a winter fling, and so they was going back to school. And Clifford was like, "Okay, I'll try to keep in touch with you." She said, "What do you mean? I'm coming to visit you at your school next week." And since then they've been together. So she took charge. She wasn't letting that go.
But
That's good.
you know what? No,
I'm
you
the
know
type of
what?
person, I'm giving
You know
up.
what it is? People
Yeah.
people like wild cards, right? So when you keep the person on their toes, listen. A lot of men and women. My wife is a headache. So, listen. Sometimes you want to get into argument. I don't know why, but sometimes the arguments lead to good sex. That's another thing. Nobody want to straight up. He does everything I say, because it then become boring. You're like, damn, why you doing it? Sometimes you gotta do. You know what? We're not doing that today. That's just what it is. I don't care you had those plans for 2 weeks.
I feel like
Because people, listen, no, people like wild cards. People don't like, listen, people do not
I
like,
agree and disagree. I
people do not
disagree
like the
because
steady Freddy guy.
you can't keep somebody on their toes like that all the time. Somebody stands me up one time, I'm sorry, I'm done. But I'm
But
just
4 in a
saying,
row is-
that's too much.
So let's have
never eat
Dr.
before again.
Joe
Me
give us
either.
a more I don't want to say sophisticated, but more scientific answer to why do you think we spend so much time with people we have no business with?
Well, I'm
Why-
actually taking notes.
Okay.
I may understand some of the functions of human thought and behavior, but I am not immune
Yes.
to everything.
Yes.
That's for sure.
So, have you found yourself in a situation where it's just like you were so attracted to someone you had no business dealing with?
Sure.
We all do it.
absolutely, Yeah, I mean it's intriguing for the first, for me, but also with the intrigue, you want to get to know what's making the person function.
What
especially-
drives them?
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's something different than what drives you. Different perceptions. I'm always curious to see how other people view the world, and check myself. So I actually like that opposites attract. Now, there are benefits for people who are in the same field as you. because they'll understand, or where you work. You know, they could understand a bit more than someone who's fresh to it. But also, someone who's fresh to it could give you a different perspective.
Okay. What about you, Nichelle? Like, why do you feel like people you have no business with is the most appealing?
Being young, immature, and I guess it was exciting at the time. And you make just it's a challenge. Then you opposed to the guy that's nice. He's called you 10 times a day, and he's like, "Oh, I already know."
Which
like,
now,
ignore
as
me
an
a little
adult,
bit.
that's a trigger. but when you're younger,
Well, now you appreciate that.
You
but
do. You absolutely do.
And now you appreciate it. But before, when I got involved in things like that, it was because it was fun. It was challenging. It was exciting, and I was just as they were, crazy as they were. So, we had a good time. But you grow up and you learn it's not all about that. You do want to connect with somebody that you have a lot in common with and who you're supposed to be and everything. But people really get tricked by that chemistry thing. I just want to say that again.
No, that's a big thing.
We think that we hit the jackpot when we find somebody that we have chemistry with, and chemistry is not it. You can have
It's not enough.
No, chemistry is not enough.
And I forgot who said it, but it's also the thrill of the chase sometimes. Someone mentioned that. Is this? I think back now, when I met my wife, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get this woman. But someone introduced us to on a blind date kind of thing. And, we knew each other's background, and we had the date. And the whole time we was on the date, she had to catch a train. I told the story before.
I remember
but
the story.
I thought she was just like, yo, this guy's boring. She kept looking at her watch. What kept me going, I was just like, you know what? Usually you would take this as a sign to, like, give up. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to win her. I'm going to win her affection. So I'm going to keep trying, It's not that I didn't have no business with her, but, sometimes even someone you don't have no business with, when you don't get them at first, or sometimes guys is like, she turned me down, but I thought she was supposed to be an easy, woman to pick up. So now you're chasing after that kind of thing, So the last question on this topic is, how long do you stay in a relationship that has no future, but is so fun and exciting?
Ooh, I say until you had enough. You're going to have that feeling like, you know what? Damn, we have a lot of fun. There's going to be that moment when you wake up in the morning.
Enough changes.
You wake up in the morning, you're like, how does this person benefit me and my future? If they don't benefit my future, and I know that it's stagnant, we're not going anywhere, that's the point where I feel like you're going to wake up like, it's time for me to go. Or you're going to be in that moment when you're going to feel like you want to give up because you don't want to waste your time any longer.
First you want to get rid of that person after the sex is no good. Because after that, if it was
But
just...
then you're holding on to
No. Listen,
ass.
I'm going to explain that. If the sex is no good, you want to get rid of that person, too. Because, first of all, sometimes that's just a chemistry thing. Okay, you with that person because he pleases your needs. But after that, you got to look into, what is he trying to do with himself now? You know what I'm saying? Is it just a... And then what time he calls you, if he just calling you at certain times to chill, and then can he hold the conversation? That's important. So some of the things that you to piggyback on men to say is, like, after it's just you see that the physical is just not there, you got to look at other things like, okay, maybe does he got a good job? Is he trying to do something? Stuff? Does he like some of the things that I want in the future? So I think after you break it down, you see what's going on.
Okay, so you're saying, like, you can stay long in a relationship with someone that doesn't have a future. If the sexual chemistry is good, then it'll allow you to stay longer.
A lot of people do that.
Answer the question. Answer it.
A lot of people do that. We hear about it all the time. Friends, family members, and you be like, "Why are you still going through this? Why are you still with this person? Leave
The
them."
girl
But
like,
they
the
can't.
dick was
Or
bomb.
the guy. Or the guy.
Or her head is crazy. Let's be honest.
But see, it all depends on the person because for me, I can't perform correctly if something else is not connecting. I can't.
You're not into
if his dick is good, I'm gonna be like, yeah, he got a good dick, but he doesn't communicate properly, or this happens, or he chews with his mouth open. Like, there's always gonna be something. There's gonna be something for me where it's like, nope, I just can't do it. I can't perform because things aren't connecting on another level.
So, because the question has a quantification for it. So, if you could give like a number with your answer, how long do you think you can stay in a relationship with someone who's fun and exciting, but there's no future?
I would say probably about a month or two. maybe. I can't really give it a time because, in all honesty,
would-
like
I would say about 6 months.
I don't agree.
Listen, the reason why I say 6 months is because the first 2-3 months you still getting to learn each other. He might,
no,
he
I
might
thought we were
act.
talking about we already know each other.
No,
and in my mind, I'm like,
no,
this is
he
really
might-
not going to work. If that's the case, then
6 months. 6 months. By 6 months, you should know where you headed with this person. That's what I think. 6 months was good for me.
Now, see, we're on
I was kind of asking from the inception of the relationship
Okay.
to when you figure out, okay, this is kind of thing. So how long?
See, I didn't know you were talking about like that as the time frame. I thought we were talking about we already know each other, but we've been talking for such and such amount of time, and I know it's not going to
From
work.
inception to inception, you find out this person is exciting and stuff like that. They're fun, but you realize just from their goals or what they're telling you that there's no future.
I
How
would
long
say
can you
about
that?
maybe four months. I can't sit there for 6, and I don't know. Probably 4 months for me.
What about you, Nichelle?
I don't think you can pinpoint how long it's going to take because every situation is different and every person is different. If you're a strong individual like Amanda, you're out, like she said, right away. Like, no, everyone is not strong like that because once you get connected to them and you get tied in, you see all of these issues, you see all of the problems where you're not going to connect. But a lot of people that we even know personally, or we might have made these errors ourselves, you're locked in. You just can't detach from them for whatever reasons. If we were saying that,
It took a
the
while.
intimacy is good or whatever,
Right.
and you know that you don't need to be in it, but you're locked in because you can't break away. So it's kind of hard, in my opinion. It's hard for you to pinpoint because some things you just right away you see it and you're like, I'm not dealing with this. And then you get that person, and you look up, and 2 years later, you're like, why he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that, or vice versa. She doesn't have this, she doesn't have that, and I'm in this situation that I can't get out of. So I don't know. I think it's hard to
I
pinpoint.
will say it took me the strength that I have now is because I've been single. It'll be 4 years in May. So since I've been single for so long, cutting that bullshit out. Like it's like,
Your patience is shorter.
my patience is so much shorter. If someone says one stupid shit, I'm like,
Right.
no.
Right.
So
Well, I'm definitely the sucker. It's about a year.
A year.
I would say a year, but it's important what Cliff said too. I mean, if the sex isn't good, a month. If the sex is good, I think I'll do 6 months to a year.
See, guys is like, yo, give us good
guys are, like,
sex,
sexually
feed
driven
us.
about that.
We gonna be loyal for a long time.
Let's be honest here. A good guy, sometimes, he's a good guy. What you call it? You gotta have that kind of chemistry. Sex is important in all relationships.
sex is very important.
in all
Absolutely.
relationships. And also, sex defines or how the relationship is gonna last sometimes too. Because in that connection, y'all gonna communicate to see how the bodies intertwine, right? So I think 6 months is a good time where you get 6 months minimum is a good time where you get to learn that person, whatever too. And then you can also see who's playing games. That's enough time to evaluate. That's why there's a reason why in your job they say either three to 6 months
Probation,
right? Right, because
Probation.
they need at least 3 to 6 months to know what kind of person you are. Because you could have started off strong the first 2 months, then all of a sudden you hit a rope, or you're not coming to work on time, you cursing people out, you're doing that. That's why they give you 3 to 6 months probation.
And I also think it's about
True.
the pet peeves, right? We
Yeah.
all have pet peeves.
Yeah.
And I kind of gauge it that way. If the pet peeve that I have is being, exploited, let's say in the beginning, it's gonna be a shorter time frame.
Yeah.
Because it's those, when they say it's the little things, and I don't mean me and that we're talking about sex. I don't.
you're not talking about the
No,
little
no,
things.
no.
Okay.
Although again, I guess I could throw the shrink thing in again.
Yeah. But you just said something that was interesting, right? Because we view probation in job settings, but relationships have probation too.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have to have a topic or a whole show about
About probational
past the
periods.
probation,
That's
you
good.
know.
Okay.
But we're gonna move
would
on to
know.
the next topic, and the next topic is where's the love, right? So sometimes you'll see either you've been through it or people in relationships and stuff like that. Like there's a time period where it's just like the love stops. Every relationship doesn't continue, and it's just like, maybe something happened, maybe too much turmoil in the background, maybe too much cheating, maybe too much lying, maybe too much miscommunication, but love stops. But then sometimes we drag that relationship on longer. outside of just chemistry, sometimes it's just like, the love is gone and we just stay. Kind of continuation of what we're talking about, but differently. So the first sub question is, do you break up once the love goes? Right? Because when you've been in a relationship for a long time, I go through it. I know Clifford goes through it, especially when you're married. Like, your marriage is a commitment. But then when you're with someone for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, there's plateaus, there's hills and valleys of love. And then sometimes you have to kind of reinvent the love. You kind of have to reevaluate the love and stuff like that. So, but I'm asking people who maybe not be tied into something long term. When the love goes, do you leave? Do you stay? Do you try to figure it out? So I want everybody's opinion on that.
I mean, I typically stay. My measure of any relationship, romantic, platonic, friend, family, is, how does this relationship get affected when the shit hits the fan? I mean, when everything's cool, everybody's cool. But, I want to know, where are you? Do you have my back when things aren't going well? And that's my measure of any type of relationship.
I agree. You need to see that it's not going to be peaches and cream every day. You're not going to like them all the time. So to answer your question, that's kind of hard because every situation is different. Depending on the relationship, I think you should look into restoration and sit down and communicate and see where the love has gone, why did things sizzle out, and see if you can restore it, see if you can kind of like rekindle it. But if it's something that after you have a discussion and you talk things out and it's over, it's done. And that's not easy too. I don't think I'm being really honest either. And I'm just
made me sad.
and I'm just
She said it's done. I'm like, it's
yeah.
done?
Because we have to be real here. How many people we know that's supposed to break up and they still don't break up? Where the love is gone and they just drama. It's just drama after drama. There's financial reasons why people stay together, children. People don't. It's here we go again. You're looking at them like they still going through that. The love been going a year ago.
Yeah.
He done got arrested twice, threw her out the window 3 times, and they're still together. People, you stay for like so many different reasons. So I don't.
Should have thrown him out the window a couple of times. Is that what we're doing? But no.
She sound like waiting to excel.
I'm just saying.
Do you break up when the love is gone?
I do not break up. I stay. I'm one of those. If I fell in love with you, the love is like we're not in love anymore. We still love each other. The communication is always the key. I think that we as a couple, we need to communicate. Listen, I'm unhappy because of this, or I'm unhappy because of that. I feel like when you start communicating and telling each other why you're unhappy instead of waiting years to say, well, 10 years ago, I didn't like you because of this. If you communicate it, then we all know where we need to fix and what needs to be done to bring that love back and to have that continuous feeling.
You don't leave when the love is gone. You try to work things out, but also you got to talk to somebody about it. Maybe go to counseling, maybe talk to a friend or something, because relationships is not just about love. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of good times and bad times, especially like speaking from somebody who's married. I've been together with my wife 11 years, married 4 years. And it's a lot of rocky road. Don't get fooled by social media. Social media will be like, social media make your relationship amazing.
Oh,
right?
I already know.
But you talk to people, you thug it out. You talk to a best friend, a counselor, because we all need it. Everybody needs help. So when the love leaves, you still stay. You have to.
I forgot to.
You was gonna say
yeah,
something.
because Amanda just reminded me of something, and it's so funny because I was talking about them before I was on my way here with my mom. So there's a couple that I know, and I admire. We have like this relationship series that my pastors do in church every year, and they're doing that now. So there's a couple, and we had a discussion last year, and they was talking about things that they did before they married because communication is key. So they was just really giving their advice on how they feel that communication works. And he said, the husband said, love was off the table. When they went to sit down and have a conversation, it wasn't, oh, I love you and you love me. And it was, look, love don't have anything to do with this. This is the problem. This is what we're dealing with. And it was what you said. You reminded me, let's not wait until, I love him, so I'm going to overlook it, or I'm not going to mention it. Maybe he can't handle it. And then 10 years later, it's a problem. They put love is off the table. I don't care how much I love you. This is the issue.
Yes.
This is the problem that I'm having. And they had these, every few months, they would have these dinners and just sit and just talk of areas would come, things would come up. Well, I didn't like when you did this, or I'm not pleased in this area, and they will work it out.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a
what I
great thing
love.
right
Love
there.
was off the table.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and when you ask someone to change, of course, it's difficult. But then you'll see how much they're committed to you, committed to the relationship.
By the change, by that commitment.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful that you guys segue into it because I realize that we always think that love has to be passion flamed, like that's what we want, but it don't stay that way. It's hard to stay that way, especially when with time comes, people stop looking as mysterious, or you stop being as enamored with the person, right? Not because you see their warts, but it's because it's not new anymore. It's not fresh anymore. It's not surprising. People become habitual. The next actual question is love enough to keep relationships going, right? Because when the love is gone, you start thinking to yourself like, okay, I'm not sure if I love this person or not. But at one time you did love this person. So is love enough to keep a relationship going? Because you can love someone who's like, I love this person, but she cheats on me every single day. But I still love the person, but the person's doing something that's not conducive to the relationship health. Or the person, she lies to me about everything.
Love is not enough. I believe when your happiness is compromised, love is not enough. I will never let anyone compromise my happiness ever again. I did it before. Never again. I love them, but fuck out of here. I was gone.
Love is not enough. Love is not enough. You have to. It just goes back to what we were talking about. You have to be able to meet each other halfway. Just because you love them, it's not enough to make it work. You got to like each other. You have to actually like each other. When everything is not passion and excitement and all this love and passion, you got to like that person. You have to want to talk to them when they come home and tell them about your day, or even just have a conversation. So it's not enough.
What's love got to do with it? I'm not going to sing in disrespect to return, of course. But yeah, I mean, could you repeat the question? Because
is love enough to
I started singing the song.
I'll sing.
Is love enough to keep the relationship going, right? Because we realize that love fades or is strong and weak and stuff like that. So outside of love, if you love a person but a lot of other things are not working, is that enough to keep the relationship going because you love them?
I don't think so. I mean, again, a relationship is complex, of course, and it has so many different variables. Love is one of the variables. It's a pretty strong variable, but it's not the only. So yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think it's strong. It's enough. Love is just a partial relationship. It's just what you can take as a person. The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you can take, and to work it out. But love is not enough. Just because you could love somebody that's beating the shit out of you every day. Still love them, but it's not right because at the end of the day, that person could kill you. So love is not enough.
I'm learning love is not enough as well. Just observing, other people, myself and stuff. Because you know what? Like you said, even to tie it back up, you can love the wrong person. You can love someone because they've done stuff for you, and you have like memories with this person. You've had, you've went on journeys with this person. That don't mean that this person should be on the journey continuously. This person could be a leaf, a leaf on a tree. A leaf was there for a while, but the weather changes, that leaf gets gone kind of thing. So, the last question is, to make it a little lighter, is like, do you make yourself single when spring comes around, right? Because they call fall cuffing season, fall into winter, right? Because when the weather, gets colder, you're not out and about like that. You kind of want to watch Netflix and do kind of stuff like that. So you find someone to like attach to. But then when spring comes around, you start looking at that person like, is there better choices out there, right? So even if you're not in a situation where you do that now, do you think, single people try to make themselves remain single or go back to single for when the weather start getting nicer? Like spring's coming around now, and the concept that spring is in the air, love is in the air, is because, a lot of things die during the winter. spring is the birth of a new cycle. So a lot of people think that, that's how your heart is as well. Love is start looking for a new cycle kind of thing. So do you find yourself trying to be single and unattached as spring come along, preparing for the summer and things like that?
Anybody want to go first?
Yeah, I'll
You want to go first, Joe?
Yeah, I just got to
Go
be
first,
careful what I
Joe.
say. I don't want to get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
I wonder what the statistics are, though, with gyms. I wonder if more people go to the gym during that time, which to me doesn't make sense.
More people go to the gym in January and February. I was supposed to renew
makes
my
sense.
my thing. I'm not renewing it yet until March because
I hear you. I know people who go to the gym in the summer because they want to look good, and I'm like, you should start 3 months back, But no, I mean, the other reason why I chose a year for the other question was because seasons change, people change, our moods change. So I like to give it a full
That's true.
year.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But then I start thinking about wasting your time. You wasted your time for a year.
But
So that's like another scary thing.
but if you're learning about yourself, it's not a waste of time.
But should you be learning about yourself while you with somebody or while you're single?
Also go in the relationship whole.
That is an amazing question.
That is
No,
right.
but
How many
you,
of us
you
do?
grow. You grow. So
together.
you know, like, I think I knew so much about myself before I was in my relationship, and then you learn so much about yourself after
But you're
because
in
of
a
the reflection of that.
relationship whole.
Right.
And that's what a lot of us don't do. We don't go in a relationship whole. We go into relationships looking for them to make us whole or fill this void that we're having or this loneliness we're feeling. If more people would go into relationships healthy and whole and work on their they go to the gym, their physical fit, so you won't be so insecure.
Mental
work on your
fitness.
mental health. Work on yourself emotionally from the things of the past.
Exactly.
A lot of us would save ourselves from a lot of issues because we don't. We go. Yeah. Looking
I
for that
also
person
believe
to
you
build
could
you
grow
up.
together too, but at least come into it at least 80% whole.
Right.
And then we can grow together. But as far as the whole being a whore during the summer seasons. And no, stop. I'm just joking. Okay, so for me, it doesn't matter what season it is. First of all, I've been single long enough, but it doesn't matter. I'm a togetherness person, so in the summertime, you guys already know I'm always out about eating in some cafe, some boat ride or something. I would love to do that with a guy. It doesn't always have to be with a female friend. So when the springtime comes around, I'm not looking to, be single. It's just, stuff.
I think spring is the perfect setup time.
To be single or
Yes, because you start thinking like the summer's
But
around
why
the
does it
corner.
have to be a season to be perfect to be
Because
single?
guys, to me,
Guys
I'm
like
gonna
the
speak. Guys are
butt-naked chicks,
strategic,
right?
Guys are strategic.
I think it's a man thing where, oh shit, summer's
it's a
coming,
good time
asses
to
are going to
be
be
in a
hanging out from the bottom of
relationship in the
shorts,
Spring
tits are going to be out.
Yeah, but that's
belly's
why.
gonna be out.
That's
I
why
think
you start
men-
planning in spring. You start planning in
Planning what
spring.
in spring?
You start planning the kills that's gonna happen in the summertime.
kills.
The
So we're not-
kills.
so-
As a single person, that's the mission.
My God.
You know what it is. The springtime is the perfect time for you to learn what you're gonna do and how you can do it. Because in the wintertime, nobody's really out like that. That's when you say, you know what? I'm gonna accept her for her faults this winter because it's too cold to be out there going to all these places and stuff. But in the springtime,
And the tits are covered.
listen, and the body's covered.
She just
But-
said, I can't believe y'all are some
listen,
That's
and
the
then-
orgy
Couple
asses.
stuff. You go to the botanical garden. The weather is nice. You have picnics. You go on boat rides. You
It's too
travel.
many. Listen.
The
All right,
springtime
you
is
know what that is?
relationship
What she's
time.
saying is a different type of a man. Because there's certain men that love to do the things that you just said. So, and there's certain men that don't want to do that shit.
No,
and
but
wanna
listen,
be a whore.
listen.
And that's how I look at it.
My whole thing is this, right? In the springtime, you're gonna do your best work. What you call it? You're gonna do your best work to be what you call it as a single. What you call it? You're gonna be more out there. You're gonna go to more parties. Your single friends is gonna encourage you to go to more places. In the wintertime, you're gonna deal with that person because you're like, damn, it's cold. Who else can I do it? I'm gonna do his attitude for the winter. But as soon as springtime comes, I'm out of here.
That sounds
You
like
know,
cuffing season
it's
out of
cuffing-
loneliness.
it's- no, it's
okay,
cuffing
I'm lonely,
season.
so she could come and lay with
You
me.
use them
But in
all
the
winter.
It's not-
summertime, then we could fuck
In the
around.
summertime,
and
they go.
Y'all do the same thing to us.
No, we don't.
Nah.
Let me tell you. You got to keep it all the way 100, right? So
It's okay.
by the time the fall happens, you tired from whoring all summer, so you decide to take one thing and be settled
Wait,
down.
this is from a whore's point of view.
No, this is from this real talk. That's why spring is the setup time, right? Because if you start planning for whoring in the summer, it's too late. You already lost out the strategic planning. If you start planning in the spring and line things up, it's a beautiful summer to the fall. And then you kind of rejuvenate in the winter, you settle down. This is nature. This is not just regular whoring. This is nature. If you watch the animals, they do it like that too.
This is nature from a whore's
No,
point of
it's just
view.
perspective.
Unless you say nature is a whore itself.
Nature is a whore. Listen, monogamy is something man-made. You'll see animals. If
We
you
will
watch
forever
animals,
talk about this.
if you watch animals, you'll sometimes see one monkey or one ape screwing this lady, then screwing that lady, and then screwing that lady, and there's not drama amongst them because as long as he bring back bananas to the whole village, it's cool.
You can't relate that into real life because
I'm
there's
just
going to be
saying,
some
monogamy
drama.
is a man-made
So serious
factor.
right now.
I know that we always talk about this. When it comes to monogamy, I need a man that can control his dick and his mind.
Have
So if you
discipline,
cannot have
discipline.
the discipline, then you're not the man for me. There's gonna be pussy, ass, dick, all over the place. If you can't control your dick, then don't fuck with me. I think when people say that monogamy is
Beautiful, but it's man-made, is what I'm saying.
I don't care what
it's not
anyone
natural.
says.
It's not
I think
nature.
that these are just excuses from weak ass men who cannot be faithful, and that is my point of view on this.
I agree.
I
agree.
Yes, because I'm so sick and tired of men saying this is what nature and this is what it intended us. No, if you can't be the guy to be monogamous, then don't get into your fucking situation. Control your
Agreed.
dick.
Now,
Thank you, Joe, for agreeing.
well, I mean, I'm sitting next to her. I'm not going to disagree. But I think there are a few other animals, though. I think dolphins. I think a breed of dolphins, something like that. Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to.
Smart. They're supposed to be smart,
But from what you said, I hope reincarnation is true and I come back as a monkey. I'm just kidding. That's just my failed attempt of comic relief. I'm joking. But monogamy is beautiful because it's difficult, right? So if we're going to talk about nature and natural, of course our eyes are going to wander, and
Absolutely.
men or women are more similar than they are different. But it's that difficulty that really measures that relationship. You know, can I control my dick? If I can, that's good. You know, if I'm with the
And
right
they say
person.
men like challenges. Why don't they use that as a challenge
Exactly.
to be
You just have to
monogamous?
flip. Yep, I agree.
Great
Period.
idea.
Point blank.
Yep.
The temptation's too high. Because the weather.
All their clothes come off.
The weather affects. Listen, it's a proven fact. That's why in the wintertime everybody says, "Oh, I ain't gonna worry about getting in shape." But soon as spring come on, oh, I'm not playing. You girls take the DR trip for a month and a half. Next thing you know, y'all come back with a new body. Guys all of a sudden didn't have no abs in the wintertime. Now he got abs. Now he doing 2 a day at the gyms. Cause listen.
Yeah, they cut the gym now. They just go to DR.
Listen. They change their diet, they hire their training and all that. You know, so it's one of those things where you gotta understand. It sounds crazy. You base your life off of the seasons. Off the seasons, how you gonna react and what things you're gonna accomplish. Cause I know in the springtime, I'm trying to do my best. I'm trying to get the most money. I want to drive the nicest car in the spring. I want to go on the most vacation. I want to be out and about. In the wintertime, that's where I'm just bringing all my thoughts in. I'm like, I don't care if nobody see me all winter. In the summertime, in spring, I'm gonna hit them hard.
You know,
But you run your life. You run your life off the season.
Yeah, but the monogamy thing, monogamy is a beautiful thing. But at the same time, when I say it's a man-made concept, and it takes discipline, it takes desire, it takes want to, but it's not a natural instinct, is what I'm saying to you. If I break it down scientifically, people hate to hear that, but it's not, and for both of us, not just for men, but for women too. But I feel like society has beat it in a woman's head that, monogamy is so easy. When a man's not monogamous, you guys think like it's such an easy thing.
Easy.
It's
but it's not easy
Look at you pointing at me because I'm looking at my
I wouldn't hear it.
I'm looking at you, right? Represent us.
So, but we're gonna move on to the last topic. But if you have anything else to say on that,
Please elaborate what I said, because we do run our life off the seasons. Most men are gonna be more confident when it's hot than when it's cold. 100%. Statistically, even if you look it up,
I think your hormones are
yeah,
higher
it's
in
not
the
even
summertime,
that.
and maybe you
not
might act
even
way, but I don't know
that.
if you're more
A
confident
guy's
in the
gonna
summertime.
tolerate more in the wintertime than the summertime, and a woman too, because you're not out and about.
He's not gonna say he's not gonna leave, but if she do it in the summertime,
And
I'm out.
No. In the wintertime, he gonna be like, you know what? I ain't
I'm
gonna
go-
trade.
what is
It's 0 degrees out here. You know, we could talk this out. In the summertime, he gonna be like, I'm out. I'm going to the next brunch.
bike week.
Yeah, I'm going to bike week, bike
Go
fest.
ahead.
I'm out.
Hey, yeah.
So the last topic of the show is has social media made us too sensitive? The reason why I say that is because we'll see a meme and like black people are like joking crazy, and then a white person will chime in on the same meme, and all of a sudden we're talking about slavery and stuff like. Don't get it twisted. This country has a lot of effed up ways about it, but we can't always bring it to the extremes about everything. You know, the example I'm using is 21 Savage. Like 21 Savage, we found out he's from the UK. He's not from here. You know, he got caught up with ICE, and then everybody's doing all of these, UK British memes, and then Demi Lovato, who has her own baggage, commented on a meme, and everyone's like, "Oh, but you're a crackhead. How you have the nerve?" And like attacking. I'm just like, wow, like. Why do we kind of like take things too far on social media? So the first question, has social media made memes and inappropriate jokes like make us too sensitive? Like seeing these kind of images and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I social media is like we're in a weird period. Great period, very exciting. I always think, is social media the death of communication, or is it the evolution of communication? Like I'm still, up in the air with it. Yeah. I think at times, I think it is making us a little bit sensitive, but at other times, I think it's not. I know that's the weakest response ever. 'Cause I'm on both sides.
No,
That's your
response
opinion.
is not weak.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a great platform for your opinions to come out. And again, in our country, we have that freedom of speech, which is beautiful. But can it be taken to extremes? Absolutely, yeah. We see it all the time.
I think so. I think social media, yes, we have taken it to the extremes, and we're very sensitive, and it's mind control. It's to the point now where it's mind control. People's minds are controlled by the number of likes, the comments, who's commenting. It's terrible. It definitely. I think
Yeah,
so.
because even myself, I find myself like I get outraged, and then sometimes I start to realize like for instance, I'm gonna use two different clothing examples. Like H&M did the coolest monkey in the gym, and they had a black kid model the monkey in the gym kind of thing, and I was outraged and upset. And then now we have Gucci did the hoodie, the turtleneck hoodie with looked like blackface with the red thing, and the Gucci one bothered me a little bit less because I'm like, I never felt Gucci was inclusive anyway, kind of thing. This now thing, it looks a little funny and stuff like that. I guess it doesn't affect me as much because I'm like, I wasn't gonna spend $1,500 on that sweater anyway, kind of thing. That was out my price range. It kind of Gucci doesn't do anything for everybody, kind of thing. It's kind of a little more exclusive, kind of thing. Where H&M is a brand where like everybody can kind of support. So I say that to say this, like, I think social media sometimes make us rally and champion for certain causes that's just not as significant to us as a whole, and we use it as a distraction. Like we should worry about the bullshit going on with the government and a lot of little things that are happening, but now Gucci got our attention because social media is making it a big deal because of the hoodie kind of thing. So I think social media not only makes us too sensitive, but it really distracts us from what's really going on, and that's why a lot of
It's a
times.
distraction, or it's just what you want to pay attention to. Some of these things aren't distractions if your mind is
Yeah, but I think sometimes these things are strategically done at a time period to distract us
It
from
is
like
true.
to let a bigger
That's
true. Kind of go on.
Yes, very much so.
As far as being sensitive, for me, Like, I'm like, shit, should I post this or should I not? I have crackheads on my page. So if I make fun of a few crackheads, like, is it gonna, like, so I feel like some people are very sensitive, so I can't tell a joke about a crackhead because I have about 10 of them on my page. So it's just like, I don't really filter. I filter some things that I post, but when it comes to like a category to one person, I try not to post stuff because people are very sensitive.
Social media is very sensitive, right? And also social media is destroying our community. Period. Just in general as a whole, right? Like that's why sometimes with my social media, I look at what I post now because my social media back in the day was a little kind of crazy, but I used to post random stuff. But now that I'm a parent, you know, I have my first kid, whatever, so I only put pictures of me and my wife and certain things that I put up because that's not my lifestyle now. And also, it's sensitive because I'm portraying something I'm not really doing, right? So it's important. If you're a strong-minded person, you don't really look at social media. You look at it for fun. Because my older brother, you know, he do not play no social media games, and he's a big-time businessman. I'm like, he doesn't want to. He don't play those games because he don't want to get into all the this and that. Social media, you go find somebody in social media and really want to fight this person. You know what? All right, he said that. Okay, cool.
How many people probably
Yeah,
died
so
from
it's
dumb
like
shit on social media?
it's a very sensitive topic.
Yeah.
So you should look at social media as something that's for fun. Don't look at it too in depth because if you look at it too in depth, it'll destroy your life. Us right now, if we said right now for a month straight, don't go on social media, it'll be a hard time for us. Because everything, a lot of time we get our news from social media now, which is scary. And we got Channel 7, we got Channel 2, we're like, nah, I'll go on Facebook and see what's going on.
That's true.
It's an addiction. It really is an addiction.
I mean, I've seen. I drove down, drive down the block or something to see a bunch of kids hanging out, and they're all on their phone. And this is not what I'm used to. I'm used to like we're running around like maniacs.
Yeah.
And I did stop and I asked the kids. I said, if any of you guys are texting each other or IMing each other, I'm slapping the shit out of you.
And you're right next to each other.
Like,
Yeah. But sometimes people will gather in a group and be in a group chat, and everyone's group chatting touching each other.
But I was saying before, is it the death of communication or the evolution? Like, I mean, when my mother would ask me to turn the TV on, I'm like, "Wow, you dumb?
It's right there."
Power.
Yeah.
But is that us now?
It's the death of communication. I was watching an episode of Blackish. No, but the spinoff, Grownish.
Grownish, yeah.
And so what's her name? Zoe, I forget her name. She
Yeah.
has a boyfriend and she's away in college.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend was having this situation. Every time she tried to talk to him in person about this situation, she could not get anywhere. So she had to think, where did we stop? Like, what happened? And
What
she
destroyed
said,
our communication?
So what she did was she remembered she communicates with him better through text. So she left him, went home, and texted him. They worked out the whole problem. He opened up. So I guess that episode has something to do with what social media and society and what's happening with the youth and communication. But that's it right there. He could not communicate to solve the relationship issue that they were having in person. She had to text him, and he opened up and problem solved.
But sometimes
It's crazy.
there's less emotion. But to be honest with you, I kind of get that, even though it's wrong, because there's a less emotion sometimes in written context than words coming out of your mouth. Sometimes I can hear you say.
Researchers say that. Our researchers say that most of communication is nonverbal.
Yeah, so we have to wrap it up. We're gonna ask one last question, and then try to give a short answer to it, and then we'll end the show. So, have we let social media determine how we carry ourselves in the digital world differently than off world? And should we keep politics off of our social media?
For me, my social media is me. I'll go out to eat a lot. I cook a lot too, but I don't post that. But go out to eat a lot, hang out a lot, stuff like that. It's me, so I'm not putting up or portraying a different person. Like, that's just who I am. So, my answer to that is I'm just me. I'm being me.
What about you?
My social media is me. You said something about politics. Can you repeat that?
Like, how we
yeah.
carry ourselves on social media, is it different than the real world? And should we keep politics off of our social media?
I don't think we should. My social media is me, and we should keep politics off our social media. Yes.
Agreed completely. But I'll modify it a bit. I totally agree. I will never personally put any political.
I don't.
Yeah,
I
never.
do not.
But I respect the fact that everyone has that right, and if you want to do you, But yeah, social media. Unfortunately, Instagram is me. So, and I say that unfortunately because
I'm like, unfortunately, let me see your. I know
Yeah.
what's going on
No,
your Instagram.
I'm just saying that to get some more
Followers. Yeah, I got you. I got you. I think me on social media, me offline is pretty similar. I don't I don't I kind of hint my political standpoints on social media. I don't attack you if your political views are different from mine, but I let you know where I stand on certain issues, and I'm passionate about my stance on certain issues. But you could be on the opposite end. I'd rather let's have a conversation than me attack you for it.
I don't talk about politics on social media because it's a very sticky topic, and I don't want to get into back and forth with friends, families, and whoever I don't know. And I look at my social media more of as motivation. Like, I could go on social media and see, like, that's how a lot of times I get some of the guests. Like, me and her, I haven't seen her for years. I used to play basketball with her brother since I was a kid at 10 years old, whatever. And I seen that she was doing a book thing. I said, oh, Michelle, let me hit her up to come on. I use that as motivation to see what people's going on, the good in people. I don't use it for any negative stuff. I'm not trying to act like I'm doing something. I use it for me and then to motivate people to see the good I could get from my social media. That's it.
That's the end of this episode. It was a very good episode. You know, Joe, let them know about the website again, how they can reach you.
Sure, it's idateyou.com. You can reach me on Instagram. That's the best way to do it. And thank you. Thank you guys so much.
What's your Instagram name? I date you too as well.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. What about you, Michelle?
My Instagram,
Or just how people can reach you if you want to
you
say.
can reach me. My Instagram handle is Miss_Nook in UK. If you want to email me and get invites to some of the events that I have, my email address is missnook827@gmail.com. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
If you want to reach me, it's Greedy Gut. It's just regular Greedy and Gut, no underscore anything. I also have soy candles, so if you want to purchase some soy candles, Amanda Marie's Home Collection
Nice.
on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, I mostly moderate our Instagram for the podcast, so you can reach me at Views from the Friend Zone Instagram. And, you know, if you're watching the video, you could also send us a message to the page, and we'll try to get back to you.
You can reach me on the podcast page. That's it.
Like I always tell everybody, go out there and chase your legacy because it lasts longer than liabilities. We out. Views from the Friend Zone. Thanks for watching. Views from the Friend Zone. I'm trying to reach the end zone. You think I'm kind of sweet and you want to be friends though? It's cool though. Just don't try to play me for no fool, yo. Views from the Friend Zone. I'm trying to reach the end zone. You think I'm kind of sweet and you want to be friends though? It's cool though. Just don't try to play me for no fool, yo.